Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Grenada's Prime Minister denies receiving election campaign funding from a failed citizenship by investment project. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, November 27th. From the CMC News Centre in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. Dr. Keith Mitchell is distancing himself from any wrongdoing as alleged in an international news network's report on the sale of diplomatic passports in Grenada and other Caribbean countries. He is denying that his new national party, NNP, received campaign financing from a failed citizenship by investment project. Mitchell's denial comes on the heels of an Al Jazeera investigative program earlier this week that alleged several Caribbean countries with CBI programs are also selling diplomatic passports to people who make significant financial contributions to political parties. The program named Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines among countries that have benefited from the sale of diplomatic passports. Under the CBI scheme, citizenship is given to foreign investors who make a significant contribution to the socio-economic development of the countries. And the Al Jazeera program features a man identified as Leo Ford, who said Prime Minister Mitchell had requested funds from Grenada Sustainable Aquaculture, GSA, for the 2018 general election campaign. But the Grenadian leader described that as totally false. Mitchell said, quote, "The NNP did not receive a single cent from these people. I have asked my fundraising people and they did not even know these people," end quote. Last year, Grenada's Citizenship by Investment Committee announced a suspension of applications for the GSA until further notice. And earlier this year, Mitchell told reporters the company did not make the investments agreed to, and his government was investigating the proprietors as they have collected significant sums of money. He also stated at the time that the company's actions resulted in the government making changes to the way funds are accessed for CBI developers and projects. Well, over in Dominica, where both the governing and opposition parties have also been accused of selling diplomatic positions, Prime Minister Roosevelt's carrot pointed to what he said was an attack not on him but on the country. The Al Jazeera report, which the governing Dominica Labour Party DLP has charged was an initiative of the opposition United Workers' Party, UWP, which was trying to undermine the country's citizenship by investment program, suggested Carrot had been involved in selling diplomatic passports and ambassadorships. It also pointed fingers at Lennox Linton, the opposition leader, with its inclusion of his lawyer, David Bruni, and former Prime Minister Oliver Serafin allegedly acting on his behalf, brokering a deal with a foreigner in which he's offered, in exchange for money to finance the opposition's election campaign, an ambassadorship within 28 days of a UWP victory at the polls. Addressing a political meeting of his DLP on Tuesday night, Scarrett lamented that with just 9 more days before general elections in the country, he had to be defending Dominica from an assault.
Some who are bent on seeking to destroy our country's good name. And I say to you, my dear brothers and sisters, that all of us in Dominica who say we love our country and we care about our country must stand in defense of Dominica. You see, I have always told people that the attacks on Roosevelt's carrot is not really on Roosevelt's carrot, but it's about Dominica. And there are some who claim that they love Dominica, but do everything to destroy our country. They come with all kinds of lies. And even when they try to dig a pit for me, they end up falling it themselves.
Antigua and Barbuda's Police Commissioner Wendell Robinson has been dismissed with immediate effect after being on suspension for more than a year. Chairman of the Police Service Commission, Calvin John, informed Robinson of the development in a November 25th letter in which he said the decision was taken in the public interest. John said Robinson does not have the suitable temperament for the post and his ability to perform his duties has been compromised by his strained relationship with Public Safety Minister Ted Roy Benjamin. Robinson was suspended in April last year after male police officers accused him of sexual harassment. Atlee Rodney has been acting as commissioner since. An investigation is underway into the alleged misappropriation of $375,000 from the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard. But National Security Minister Stuart Young has sought to assure it's not taxpayers' funds that have gone missing. He made the disclosure in response to a question on the matter during Tuesday's sitting of the Senate.
Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard wishes to advise that these monies do not involve any public funds. They were contributions from the men and women in the Coast Guard. However, the organization categorically denounces any type of fraudulent activity involving its members, and as such, the relevant authorities have been notified. Internal investigations have been ongoing, and if any such activities are proven, the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard stands prepared to take all available disciplinary actions.
The matter of the missing funds is the subject of not only an internal investigation, but is now under a police probe as well. Staying in Trinidad and Tobago, a police officer is among 7 people arrested Tuesday night in central Trinidad in an anti-human trafficking exercise. The raid was carried out at Yeehigh Entertainment and Sports Bar and another establishment where 46 women were also rescued. A vehicle, a quantity of cocaine and marijuana, a large sum of money, a Glock pistol and 13 rounds of ammunition were seized. The exercise was carried out by the Special Operations Response Team, the Counter-Trafficking Unit Special Task Force, and other units of the police service. And in other developments in Trinidad and Tobago, a man was shot dead while in hospital with a stab wound on Tuesday night. Police said around 8 p.m. the killer donned a white hazmat suit and went toward 3 of the Port of Spain General Hospital, where the Jean Broker was being treated. He shot the 25-year-old patient 5 times as he lay in bed recovering from surgery. The shooter escaped as other patients and staff panicked. Broker had been admitted to hospital with a stab wound to the chest. The French government has urged its nationals to postpone any trips to Haiti until further notice after a couple was shot and killed in front of their hotel soon after arriving to adopt 2 children. Saying that the whole of the Haitian territory is to be avoided, France's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says citizens should only visit the CARICOM nation if it was absolutely necessary. On Sunday, 2 French citizens were shot dead in Port-au-Prince, where they had just arrived after completing an adoption procedure. They were on their first visit to Haiti and had traveled to meet the 2 children, a brother and a sister, as part of a 2-week socialization visit. They were due to leave with the children at the end of the visit. Police are working on the theory that the couple may have been targeted by robbers who tracked them from the international airport on their arrival. Men and boys are being urged to be agents of change in the effort to end violence against women across the region. The call comes as the Caribbean joins in the global observance of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The United Nations estimates that 1 in 3 women will experience some form of violence in her lifetime. In Belize, the Spouses of CARICOM Leaders Action Network held a forum this week engaging men and boys on the issue of gender-based violence. We get more in this report from Channel 5 Belize.
Organized by the Spouses of CARICOM Leaders Action Network and held under the theme Engaging Men and Boys to Help Combat Gender-Based Violence, the conference brought together men to be part of the discussion.
We have a very interesting and diverse panel speaking to the issues of how can we engage our men and boys in addressing, in eliminating gender-based violence. And I think it's an important subject to discuss. We do have men who are committed to combating gender-based violence. And that is important. It is important because as we move forward in addressing this issue, we need our men to work with us.
UN consultant and facilitator Shane Joseph says that it is important to understand the root cause of violence.
It is rooted in power and control in society, and oftentimes we see the statistics, the empirical data tells us clearly, disproportionately, that men are the perpetrators of violence against female. And I think today's event is about bringing men together with an opportunity to share their views and to give their narrative as it relates to addressing toxic masculinity, as it relates to addressing the role that men play in the equation, as opposed to just looking at victimization and women who disproportionately are victims of violence. What role do men play? How are we able to create accountability and take ownership for our behavior?
And the call has now been made for these men to be agents of change, to get the message to the households.
Our next step from here is where we'll be trying to get a group of men who will become advocates, strong advocates. And it's important because in the room we have men from all over Belize. But you're right, we're speaking to the converted. Some of them are converted, not all of them. But the idea is to get men as agents of change and men as advocates, men who will step up and get other men to come on board.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown defends his government's relationship with China. The details of that story and more after the break.
Let your spirit take to flight. Let your heart run free and wild. Find your soul in Dominica, the nature isle.
Welcome back. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown has defended his government's relationship with China in light of warnings from the United States that Beijing is looking to impose itself on developing countries with its financial wealth. Brown signed a multi-million-dollar loan agreement with the People's Republic of China this week and also received a $250,000 donation for a media center at the UWI Five Islands campus. He said his relationship with that country is based on mutual trust.
It's providing funding up to 20 years with a 5-year moratorium at 2%. And you have international institutions, to include the World Bank, that are offering funding over 10 years at 4% without any more moratorium. Tell me who is loan sharking.
Brown added that his government is also protecting itself from overborrowing.
By port officials to borrow another $100 million to expand the port facility. Ambassador Sun and his team was part of that meeting, and we said to them, sorry, we cannot afford it.
Well, it's time for Newsline Business, and Scotiabank is restructuring its Barbados operations, and Guyana is seeking more foreign investors. Mary-Claire Williams has the details of those stories.
Scotiabank is moving to restructure its business in Barbados following the sale of some of its operations in the Eastern Caribbean. A statement from the bank says it will be restructuring its managing director's office, particularly the centralized functions that supported the divested businesses. Scotia has also been in talks with employees and their union partners over the developments. Scotia added that the decision to restructure was not taken lightly and it is committed to supporting employees throughout the process. The Guyana Office for Investment, Go Invest, is encouraging potential investors to work with local partners. It says this is one way of attracting new business to the country. CEO Owen Verwey says he has been meeting with businesses from North America and the Caribbean.
Trinidad nominated, and few of them were new. Many of them, this is not the first time they're attending. We many times refer to the database that GCCI or the Manufacturing Services Association has. They have to help people make such decisions.
Verwey says many representatives of the oil and gas sector are keen to get started as soon as possible.
They're all interested in doing services on the ground. They're ready to go forward. Some of them are already doing things. Most of my meetings were largely with people to get a sense as to the Guyana market.
Mary-Claire Williams, Newsline Business.
Ahead in sport, spin bowler Rakeem Cornwall leads West Indies to a position of control on the opening day of the one-off test against Afghanistan. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Brittany Dixon, and you're watching Finding Fit, the show I pair up one client with two trainers. Trainer number one.
Oh my gosh.
It's about fitness, comedy.
You know, I can do this all day, you know.
Drama.
In future, we cannot be late.
Inspirational stories, and so much more. You are gonna love it. You can catch Finding Fit prime time this fall on CaribVision.
As a small business owner, you have to make sure your technology is available and operational at all times. But what happens when your network crashes, your email goes down, or your user systems get a virus? You may try to fix the issue yourself, but you can end up making the problem a lot worse. At Digital Networking Solutions, we're more than just people who try to fix your computers. We monitor, maintain, and support your IT systems so that you can focus on growing your business to its fullest potential. When you sign up for one of our IT support plans, we get familiar with your IT environments beforehand, so we can manage it proactively as if it were our own. Your business deserves the best IT services available to ensure it functions to its maximum efficiency. So give us a try today. Email or call us, and we will give you a free network assessment to determine whether now is the time for your small business to adopt Digital Networking Solutions for a smoother, more reliable network experience.
What does CLR, James, mean to you?
Well, CLR came into my life almost accidentally. I was studying at McGill University for an exam the next day, and someone brought a book over, black covered, for me to give to someone else. And I opened the book and I saw Black Jacobins. I had never heard of the book before.
After an emergency, you can help yourself and others by looking, listening, and linking.
Looking because you want to see if the person has some signs that is in distressing. Looking for the symptoms, how best you can support the person. And then listening, because listening is very important. Listening with your ears, listening with your eyes. If you do that well, then you'll be able to link them to the appropriate resources.
Be ready, look, listen, and link.
Time for sports now. West Indies spin bowler Rakeem Cornwall wreaked havoc on the opening day of the one-off test match against Afghanistan on Tuesday. The The 26-year-old tore into the host batting lineup to capture a remarkable 7 for 75 off 25.3 overs as the home side was bowled out for 187. Afghanistan's innings took a nosedive as they slipped from 90 for 2 to 98 for 6 in the space of 6 overs, with Cornwall taking all 4 wickets. Opener Javed Ahmadi top scored with 39, while debutant Amir Hamza, batting at number 9, chipped in with 34, and wicketkeeper Afsar Zazai 32. It was Cornwall's 17th first-class 5-wicket haul and first in Tests, and also the first by a West Indies spinner since January this year. He ended with the best figures by a West Indian bowler in India since Andy Roberts' 7 for 64 against India in 1975. He also held a low-diving catch at first slip off captain Jason Holder, who chipped in with 2 for 22 after West Indies won the toss and opted to bowl first. West Indies closed the day on 63 for the loss of 2 wickets. They lost Craig Brathwaite, LBW, to left-arm spinner Hamza with the score on 27, and Shea Hope followed 13 balls later, edging leg spinner Rashid Khan to first slip. Well, after the match, Cornwall said the conditions at the Atal Vijpayee Stadium were quite favourable for him to take down the Afghan batting lineup. He credited his performance to the groundwork laid in the regional 4-day competition.
Of it, but I think from the way I see the first ball come out, I say I'm going to be a handful on this pitch. So I just back myself and do the job for the skip. It's a long journey. Started for the Leeward Islands for a long period of time, for 4-day cricket, dominated for a long period, and getting the success now. So I just have to keep myself in the loop and continue performing like this for the West Indies.
West Indies will be beaming with confidence on day 2 of the one-off test, and Cornwall expects the team to build on the momentum.
It's a good day for us. 2 guys at the end of the day, John and Brooks, they're batting well. So just that we have to bat ourselves in a good position that we can come back in the second innings and wrap up this game. Okay.
Barbados Pride captain Jonathan Carter and Jamar Hamilton are confident about victory when they clash in the semi-finals of the Colonial Medical Insurance Super 50 Cup. On Thursday, Group Pride will face Group B runners-up West Indies Emerging Players, while Group B table toppers Trinidad and Tobago Red Force will battle second-place finishers in Group A, Leeward Islands Hurricanes, on Friday at the Queen's Park Oval. Speaking ahead of the match on Wednesday, Carter expressed concern about the limited time for preparation, but he remained confident that his men would roll over their opponents.
The guys are actually what we call hungry to perform. So I'm pretty confident going into the semi-final. Not really a concern, but the only change was obviously the conditions. We've not played here for the tournament. Coming here and only having one practice session to then play an important game. So I think that's a little hard on us, but at the end of the day, we still have the job to do. So we put everything aside.
Meanwhile, an equally confident Hurricanes captain says they will be going back to basics to ensure victory for the team.
Well, for us, it's just about backing our skill, as Jonathan said. It's different conditions for us coming from St. Kitts, coming here to Trinidad, different pitch, different atmosphere, but it's all about backing your skill. And the team plan is very important to what your customer is doing. So we just got to enjoy it, make it as easy as possible, but also respect our plan.
Bermudian forward Justin Donowa, fresh from Bermuda's heartbreaking defeat against Mexico, has expressed his delight after helping Darlington advance in the English FA Trophy by netting the winner against Gainsborough Trinity. Donowa came on as a substitute in the 56th minute at Blackwell Meadows Stadium and struck the decisive blow 13 minutes later in a tight affair after Jack Lambert had put Darlington ahead with Kingsley James grabbing an equaliser before the break. The goal was 23-year-old Donowa's 4th of the season for the National League North outfit, who play in the 6th tier of English football. Bermuda's hopes of retaining their nation's League A status and with it automatic qualification to the Gold Cup in 2021 were dashed after conceding an injury-time goal in a 2-1 defeat. A draw would have been enough to finish second in Group B above Panama. And finally, Ghana picked up silver and bronze medals at the college's athletics conference in Alberta, Canada recently. We get the details in this report.
Over the weekend in Alberta, Canada, the Guyanese top-seeded players showcased their talent and skills needed to bring home a silver and a bronze medal. Nairani Ramdani, playing for the King's University Eagles, won the second place in the men's singles and fifth place in the mixed doubles, while his sisters Priyani Ramdani, playing for the Old College Broncos, won the third place in the women's single and seventh place in the mixed doubles. Nairani, who finished second in the singles, showed what it takes to become one of the best badminton players. In the quarterfinals, he defeated John Lee in straight sets, 21-13, 21-17, while in his semifinals appearance, he defeated Taylor Walsh in almost similar fashion with a 21-15, 21-17. But it was the finals that went the distance with a three-setter, lost to Nicholas Pittman of Cordelia, 19-21, 21-13, 16-21. While his sister Priyani Ramdani, who got third, had a different task ahead. In the quarterfinals, she dispatched Connie Zhang, 21-10, 21-18, but bowed out in the semis to Joanna Rems, 17-21, 7-21. But to be on the podium, the youngster played with intent as she defeated Abby Leaders of Kings, 21-17, 21-18. Both players performed very competitively, and in the first time in their badminton careers, they played against each other instead with each other, as they attended different universities and colleges.
And that's Time on Sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Again, the major developments of this day: Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell denies receiving election campaign funding for his new national party from a failed citizenship by investment project. And in sport, spin bowler Rakeem Cornwall leads West Indies to a position of control on the opening day of the one-off test against Afghanistan. The Caribbean side bowled out the host for 187 and ended the day on 68 for the loss of 2 wickets. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports around the clock, subscribe to CanadaNews.com, and for more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.